Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to Glitter Gel Pen.
Episode 5. I'm Jill.
I'm Alissa, and this week is different.
Yeah, we're switching it up a little bit. I also want to add that when you guys are seeing this, it's my birthday, so wish me a happy birthday. I'm 29.
Happy birthday, Jill.
Thank you.
I'm going to pull this way. Okay. So today is, the day you're listening to this is Jill's birthday. Mm-hmm. Wish her a happy birthday. Follow us on TikTok and rate us on Spotify.
That'd be a really great gift, so go do that.
We are doing a deep dive into Jake Paul's controversial career. We got the idea whenever we watched the Mike Tyson fight.
Yes.
I noticed that the reaction to him winning, even just from our living room, the guys were like, he didn't win.
Yeah, and honestly, I was kind of like, I don't like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember why I didn't like him, but I just knew that I didn't like him.
And I feel like that's a very universal feeling. And I was like, why do we hate Jake Paul? Because his speech that he gave after he won, the respect that he paid to Mike Tyson, something about it made me be like, should I reconsider all of my opinions on him?
Yeah, and also the respect he gave to the farmers.
Yeah, we love that. We love that.
Yes.
So we are doing a deep dive into Jake Paul. I did the research on this one, so hopefully it comes across okay.
So I'm getting to get the juicy scoop today, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and neither of us have ever been fans of his.
No.
I've never consumed his content. Have you ever?
No, the most that I ever watched him was back when all the stuff with Tana was going on.
The wedding is pretty much where my Jake content peaked.
Same. That's the most I know. And I just know that we universally don't like him. And so that's pretty much the base knowledge I have going into this.
But do you think that the people that you listen to make you more biased? Like Trisha and them, they're not a Jake Paul fan. And I feel like they affect the way that I look at him because they don't like him. So they don't talk about him in a positive light. So I feel like I associate my feelings towards him as the same.
Yeah, I mean that. And also how whenever him and Tana were together, there was a lot of drama channels covering that at the time, mm-hmm. and they were just talking about stuff going on between them. And at the time, they were all kind of going in on Jake mm-hmm. as well, and I just agreed with it at the time.
Yeah.
So that's
okay. Well, we can jump into who is Jake Paul.
Well, do we want to try our?
Oh yeah, we have a treat.
Yes.
We have a treat. Before this, we have a treat.
Yes.
Because it's gonna be heavy.
Yeah.
This week we got Taco Bell's caramel apple empanada. They've been sitting for about 45 minutes, so we'll see.
No, they'll still be good.
If they're not good, I got the Cinnabon Delights just for fun.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
All right.
Do a little ASMR.
Here we go. Oh my God. That is good.
That is really good.
I know.
Okay.
It's so crunchy and gooey on the inside.
Yes, the outside is so hard and crunchy, and the inside is just warm.
Oh my God.
It's the perfect fall vibes. Go get one. First of all, go get you some of the Burger King pickle fries.
Yeah,
eat that.
Those were good.
As your savory little treat, and then get one of these as your little sweet thing after your dinner. This is so good.
It's like apple, but creamy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Bangs here. I'm not even an apple pie person. This is so good.
It is. We're just a food channel right now. We gotta take a break to eat these.
We'll be back.
Dude, this is not good. It's good, but it's not good that it's this good. All right, we're back from that really good treat.
Mm-hmm. That was delicious. So, jumping into Jake Paul. Jake Paul and his brother Logan blew up on Vine in 2013. They lived in Ohio at the time. They were just making those 6-second videos. That's where they got their start. Mm-hmm. And then Jake launched his YouTube channel in 2014.
Is that when Vine was shut down?
Vine was still a thing, but he was starting to transfer his audience over.
Okay.
So, they were mainly known for doing prank stunts, anything obnoxious. I feel like people were watching because they were so obnoxious that you can't look away. It was a train wreck, but definitely targeted towards kids.
Okay.
I don't know any adult or any person even my age. I think I'm a year older than him. And I don't think I knew anyone that was a Jake Paul fan. It was all like kids.
Yeah.
And I kind of told you this earlier, but like his vlogs are very like the crazy Minecraft gamers that are just yelling and screaming the whole time.
That at the time, especially now that you say it was like in 2014, that really makes sense because that's like everybody's content was that. Like even
it was obnoxious.
Yeah, even story time YouTubers and stuff would be like, "Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna talk about the blah blah blah." You know, it was like way over the top, way too much. So that makes sense to me now, thinking about it being 2014.
So he blew up then, and as soon as 2016, he got an offer from Disney to star in the Bizaardvark show.
Wasn't Olivia Rodrigo on that?
Yes, she was on the cast with him, and this was like Disney's take on iCarly because they saw the success of a show about a kid growing up on the internet and being like an influencer basically. But like Jake Paul's character was the role of himself, and literally on the show they had him doing like stupid stunts that were just more kid friendly, and that was his exact character.
Okay.
This is almost gone.
So it was like he was like autobiographical. I made that word up, I think, but
it's like how iCarly's character was about iCarly.
Yeah.
But like he may have had a different name in the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
The career on Disney was short-lived anyway. So yeah, he was alongside Olivia Rodrigo in the show. And there is like, I've seen memes of like Olivia and Jake like on a set together, and it like makes people's brains break because it's like a weird like crossover of two different worlds at this point. But in 2016, Jake Paul launched Team 10.
Oh, okay.
Which started as a talent management agency.
Okay, so it was not a house.
No.
At first. Okay.
It was just a company. And the idea was to have a house, and then everybody lives together, and then they grow together, and it's just like more opportunity, more exciting things happen when there's a bunch of young dudes living in a house.
So I feel like they were the first, like when I think of a house full of content creators, I think of like Hype House or something.
So the only house that had done it before them was the Faze clan. I don't know if you were in that realm at all, but like it was basically video gamers.
Okay.
It was started by, I think Faze Banks started it. Faze Banks comes into the story in a little bit, but the Faze house was the only house to have done this so far. But I imagine that's what, you know, the Hype House was modeled after. And even like David Dobrik in a way, because he like, people didn't live there, but they were always at his like big mansion. Like that was the draw of it all.
Yeah.
So the Team 10 house was a lot of things. There were rules living there. If you lived there, you were assigned to their agency, but there were rules like you had to be up filming by 10 a.m. It was definitely a job. Like it might have been a party and like crazy and these young guys running it, but there were restrictions. They didn't always treat the people that lived there super respectfully, but I don't want to say they should have expected that. But like if you're living in the Team 10 house, are you going to be surprised when they wake you up with an air horn in your ear?
Yeah.
They do pranks. Like that was their whole thing.
Yeah, you should expect that. And then also like people like, because I'm sure, I don't actually know, but I just feel that as we go farther into this, that people are going to say like something about like the restrictions and stuff it wasn't a good living environment or something. And to that I say like this was what you signed away to be able to live in a mansion for free. Yeah. So, you know.
They also, Team 10 would take 20% of the earnings, which I feel like I can get into it more later, but that's very normal for a marketing agency to do. There just wasn't anything, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So as Jake was starting Team 10, he met Alissa Violet at a mall meetup in Ohio. That's where she was from.
So she was a fan?
This is her side of the story. She says that she met Jake because she was at the mall with her sister going to get a dress for her graduation. She had just graduated high school, or was the day before. And her friend were in a car driving through the mall, and they saw all these girls like running and screaming. And they asked this little girl what was going on, this little 12-year-old girl. And they were like, what is happening? Like, and she was like, Jake Paul just got kicked out of the mall. And it was his brother too. She was like, and they're doing a meetup like at this place, but I'm only 12 and I can't drive. So 18-year-old Alissa Violet lets this 12-year-old girl get in her car, and she drives her there.
Okay, so kidnapping. She said,
and then
come with me.
But Alissa Violet's not a fan. But the way that she tells the story is she says, she was like, I drove this little girl to the meetup, and then Jake got my phone and his number was just in there.
And so, do we believe this? Because I don't.
I'm like, she had to wait in line to hand him her phone to like, even if she like just wanted to take a picture with him. I'm not saying he didn't hit on her, but I'm like, and then Jake ended up with my phone. And
it's like just out of how? Like, is this Cinderella but with a phone? I don't think so.
And she told this story whenever she did her whole like expose video like on him after they had broken up.
See, but that's new information to me, because I always thought that she was like an influencer and that they like met just in the influencer world and stuff. I didn't realize that she was not one, and then like met him at a meetup.
Yeah, she had literally just graduated high school, and then she met him. So as he was starting Team 10, he met her, and he was like, he flew her out, I guess, for a couple of weeks to LA so that they could hang out. And then he was like, what if I introduced you to, she wanted to be a model, and he was like, what if I introduced you to some modeling agencies and blah, blah, blah. He did that. And so it's like their relationship started transactional from the beginning. It wasn't just like I guess it could be that he cared about her or whatever, but it was immediately like, I am starting Team 10. You could come out here and live in this house and I could introduce you to people. And at the time he was on Disney. He had the Team 10 house was just getting started. So she comes and moves out to LA. We'll get back to her in a second. So his first real scandal, allegedly.
Okay.
Jake became more famous for crazy stunts in his neighborhood, where his neighbors were terrorized from simply living close to him. They called it a living hell, a circus.
Where was he living? Was this the Team 10 house?
Yes, this was the Team 10 house. It was in Calabasas at the time.
Okay. So wait, this crazy Team 10 house was in Calabasas, and that's like where all the snooty like rich people live. Like that's where like the Kardashians live and stuff.
They were in the middle of like some of the richest neighborhoods, and it was this 2014. God, he's younger than me, so he would have been 17 or 18 years old at the time.
Oh God, I can really see why this was an issue.
He's rich. He's on Disney Channel. Like he's just got it all. And his brother, like the whole team that was living in this house was making money. And back then, YouTube was making really good money. It's not like it is now. Like you can get brand deals and stuff back then, but like it was very high paying ad revenue back then. Like I can't even imagine how much money he was making.
And for a 17-year-old boy, like that's crazy.
With parents who were very on board with growth and like being online. So like they were saying yes to everything. So Jake became more famous from the stunts, and it was like the bigger that the stunts were and the more attention he got, whether they got in trouble or not, it was the more media press that he got out of it too. So it kind of just kept snowballing into him doing crazier and crazier things.
Like they got crazier kind of just for the reaction of it.
It was like everything was a reaction, and already their content was like cringy, but like so bizarre and outlandish that you like wanted to see what they were gonna do next, because it was just that wild. And it was also like a vlog, so there were characters involved in the house. So I understand the appeal for a little kid looking at it.
Yeah.
They had a flamethrower, they drove dirt bikes into their pool, and they gave out their address online, causing fans to swarm the neighborhood.
Why would they do that? Was that on like intentional?
Yeah, like they would do it, and they would cause riots, like in like not actual riots, but like legally I guess they were considered riots, and like just very negative things for a neighbor to do.
My mind is blown right now at why they would do that.
They caught his backyard on fire because they burned someone's mattress, and like in California, wildfires are a big issue because it's so dry there. So
this is what happens when 17-year-olds make millions and have too much money.
And it was often that like some of the bits in their videos would be them like destroying the Team 10 members' bedroom, like tearing out walls with like jackhammers, like just doing crazy things. And he didn't own the house.
Oh,
so
that's a plot twist.
Yeah. So Paul's neighbors met with police and city officials to discuss the possibility of a class action lawsuit, public nuisance lawsuit, and the company that owned Paul's house sued him for $2.5 million. Not a lot of money.
No, not for what he has. Why didn't he own a house? Why wouldn't he just buy one if he was making so much money?
I don't know. I don't know if it was because he was so young. I don't know if it's because the money was new. Like, I really am not sure why he didn't buy anything. anything, but he was obviously a nuisance to his neighbors. But what do you think about that? Like, do you think that's enough of a reason for everyone to hate him? Because at that point,
like the neighbors, or are we talking
not
like
the neighbors, the internet. Do you think he's a kid with a bunch of money and the internet is like feeding him a reaction from a positive reaction that's like got money involved from him being so crazy?
Yeah. No. I don't think that that's like a reason to hate him. I think you can. I can see people being like, I don't like him. He's really obnoxious. Like, I'm not a fan, you know? But for it to carry, I mean, as far as it is now, like, we're 10 years later. And if you're saying like people would still bring this up as a reason to not like him, I don't think that that is like a valid point at this time anymore.
And I found that like in the videos and stuff that I watched, that a lot of people held this over him a little bit. And it makes sense that people are like, he's an obnoxious, rude, entitled kid, but he was also a kid, like in a way. And I don't know, I just felt like it would really suck to be his neighbors. But I mean, they did, I guess, what they should have done and like went to the police about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I would have done the same thing if I had a really crazy, obnoxious neighbor like him. I would have hated him as his neighbor.
Yeah.
I would have hated him.
But if you were in Jake Paul's situation and you were making all that money by causing stress to 10 people,
I wouldn't care.
yeah, like that's
So-
it's just like it sucks to be the neighbors, but we're not them, so it's like
Yeah. Yeah, but as like a bystander who's not the neighbor, like I don't think that that's a relevant reason in 2024 to not like Jake Paul.
Yeah.
So far, what we've said.
Yeah. So, with the headlines from him being this like public nuisance to his neighbors, Disney fired him. I don't think he cared. Like, I can't imagine Disney paying him
More than he was making on YouTube.
No, there's no way. Like, I'm sure it was a plus, but like, I would imagine more people would be tuning into Disney to watch Jake Paul rather than people going to find Jake Paul from Disney.
Yeah.
Because Disney would never promote his YouTube channel. He was just like a character on there. So I'm going to now talk about Alissa Violet.
Okay.
Jake Paul and Alissa dated for 2 years from 2017 to 2019. He brought her onto Team 10, introduced her to modeling agencies. Their relationship was like friends with benefits type of thing. But she said she was in love with him, but he always denied the relationship. However, like we said before, the relationship was pretty transactional from the beginning. And this is a statement from Alyssa's part of the Shane Dawson docuseries. She said, "We never officially dated ever, which there are so many things out there like I'm Jake Paul's ex-girlfriend and I'm always the ex. I was just hooking up with him and chased him for so long and I wanted him to be my boyfriend." After their breakup in 2017, Alissa released a video breaking down the relationship and how poorly Jake treated her. It was generally like he flew her out to live in this house with him and they were romantically involved, but he would have girls over and he'd be like, you can't get mad or you have to leave the bedroom that they shared, I guess. But then there's other versions of the story where she said she had her own bedroom. But I think it's obvious that she might not have been with him for the clout and to get the fame, but that's very obviously was the point of her coming out here.
Yeah.
Because if she would have said, Jake, I don't want to come out there to be famous, I just want to be with you, he probably wouldn't have brought her out there.
Yeah.
But
no.
That's just my
yeah. As a 17-year-old millionaire,
Yeah.
I doubt
Yeah.
he would have done that.
So more specifically, later on, Violet accused Paul of emotional and mental abuse. She did describe one violent incident where Paul dragged her down a flight of stairs during a fight, breaking her phone in the process. I never saw anything else about this.
Okay. Like nobody else talked about it. Nobody else has validated that statement.
In that same article where I read about that, it said that Violet said she doesn't view Paul as physically abusive.
Okay. So
I don't know what the context of being dragged down the stairs is. Like, is it that they were holding hands and she was walking and he pulled her down? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. She's just done a lot to really hurt her credibility. Like, since this happened, like in the moment, I think a lot more people felt for her. But I feel like as time has gone on, I don't think that has been a consistent feeling about her.
So I'm not saying that she's lying 100%. I'm just saying that I myself can't fully be on board 100% that I believe like that he drug her down those stairs. Like, because then she says that he wasn't physically abusive.
Right,
so.
right. And if she was like, I was physically abused, that would be a different thing, but that's not what she's saying. So she's also living in this house where all these crazy pranks and stuff are happening. He is the most annoying guy, like, to her. Like, in these vlogs, like, he's, like, pestering her. Like, it's more like a sibling, like, bothering the other. And, like, I just, like, I can't imagine living in that house and wanting to be with him him. I just don't understand. I don't understand that from the way that the energy was in the house. It was just so much chaos all of the time.
Yeah.
Literally, it's every day, bro.
I have seen that.
Okay.
Yes.
Another statement that she made in Shane Dawson's documentary was, I can't even remember a conversation where it was like me walking away feeling good about myself. I'm still disgusted by it because it's not who I am. So like that is definitely like relatable as like an emotional abuse thing. But it's also like
I feel like it is very normal for when you think about the fact that they were doing this like relationship, whatever it was, from the time they were like 17 to 19. I think that the things that we're kind of saying and that she's saying happened are very reminiscent of like a high school relationship or like a just out of high school relationship.
He was also very, very open with her that they were not together. She did say that at Team 10, anytime you entered the house, you had to sign an NDA. And you also like had to have any guests, if you lived there, had to have them approved by Jake. And so like she would ask to have guys over and he would say no. But why are you living in a house with a dude that can make your rules for you? Like, and I'm not trying to like blame her for it, but it's also like you went out there because you knew that he could help you get what you wanted. And then like I said, she just didn't go out there just because she was in love with him.
Yeah, and he didn't bring her out there because he was in love with her.
Yeah.
It was transactional, so.
Yeah. Okay, so Alissa Violet is now living at the Faze house, and she's dating Faze Banks.
Okay.
Who was the leader of the Faze clan.
Wait, just real quick before we like move past Everyday Bro, I just have to bring up that part that Nick Crompton says, and England is my city. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
England is my city, and if it weren't for Team 10, then the US would be shitty.
And England is not a city.
I don't know why he's so funny to me. Like, I don't know. There's something about him. So, could you imagine going from the Team 10 house to living in a bigger version with a bunch of gamers? Like, it's the same thing. It's less pranks, less like obnoxiousness, maybe. But like when she did Shane's documentary, he went to Faze Banks' house to interview her. So Alissa and Jake dated from 2015 to 2017.
And then Faze and Alissa dated from
2017 to 2019.
Okay.
So she's just gone through emotional abuse and everything. And she's already like jumping into a relationship with another like group leader.
She seems a little clout chasey.
There's something there.
Yeah.
Like,
because she hops from one homie house to the next.
Yeah. Yes. So the diss tracks start flying. Jake Paul is now like dissing Faze Banks even harder, and it went so far that in 2017, Jake Paul accused Faze Banks of assaulting his assistant. There was a bruise on her neck, and I'm gonna let you watch Jake's version of the story. They were at a club in LA called Warwick. I have been there.
Okay.
So I was researching today. I was trying to imagine. I was like, okay, they were over there. I was trying to like paint the picture. I was watching. There was security footage where they were trying to like prove or disprove that it happened, but I'll let you watch Jake's version of the story.
There was multiple people there who saw it happen.
Right.
Obviously she has a bruise on her neck.
Pretty
like you don't just get a bruise from like getting hit. Like you have to be like like and not only that, Faze was there. He admitted to it on DMs.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was like, I was definitely there, bro.
Yeah.
And he said he was drunk.
Yeah.
He said he got into a fight that night, and he said he lost his phone. So clearly he was being belligerent, and he said he doesn't remember anything. It happened. The police are involved. My assistant has made a police report. Warwick, the club that they're at, has cameras. And because there's a police report.
So the truth will come out.
The truth will come out.
Well, the craziest thing about this story to me is that he didn't know who she was at the club. He just randomly, like, what? Am I right? Like, why did he start choking her out?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Okay, what's your first reaction to that when you hear that story?
That it's over dramatized. Is there a picture of this bruise? Like, is it out there?
It is. So there are photos of her neck.
I gotta look this shit up.
Okay. So the interesting part about this is that allegedly Faze didn't even know that this happened. He didn't know that the people there were from Team 10 because it wasn't Jake. It was like his little posse people and his assistant. So whenever the day after they went to the club, Nick texted Faze and he was like, hey, you clotheslined Jake's assistant. and she had a bruise. Like, it was like
I
the
see
whole
the
side of her
picture
neck.
right here.
And Faze didn't know. He responded to it, and he was like, I did not know that happened. Can you, like, give me her contact information? Like, let me, like, reach out to her. I had no idea that I did that. Whereas Jake said in that video that she was choked and strangled.
And that Faze admitted that he did it.
So we've already got some weird.
He said, she said type.
And it's just
stuff.
not a consistent story among the Team 10 people.
Also,
Jake wasn't there.
Also, this picture, like, if I didn't know that, like, the backstory that they're saying she was either strangled or clotheslined,
Yeah.
it looks kind of like it could be a hickey, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Faze was in a relationship with Alissa at the time. So Jake, his assistant, and two of the people that were at the club with them did this whole video, Faze Banks assaulted my assistant. And they sat down and explained the story. And then Faze immediately uploads a video, and he's like, I was drunk that night, but I remember everything that happened at that club. I didn't get that drunk until I left and went to the after party. And he was like, I didn't know that any of them were from Team 10, or I would have just stayed away from them. And he was like, I have a girlfriend. Why would I be trying to kiss her? And I'm with all of my, like, girlfriend's best friends. And my girlfriend was going to be walking into the club at any moment. She ended up not coming in because her friend that she came with didn't have an ID and couldn't get in. So there were just witnesses that never saw it. The only people that saw it happen were the Team 10 people that also don't even have the same storyline going. So he was breaking down in the video how it happened, Faze was, and then he said that if it was a drunken accident, that he wasn't aware until the next day, until one of the Team 10 members sent him a message. So it was like...
So the more you're saying, I feel that Jake just has it all wrong.
Yes.
I don't think that this actually happened.
Well, there's security footage of them, and there is nothing going on.
Okay, so then nothing happened.
Nothing. And it kind of... Even in hindsight, like looking back on people reflecting on it now, it seems like it was completely fabricated. Like the photo was fake, or it was makeup or something. Or if someone did clothesline her, it was not Faze Banks, because they were never even interacting other than like one guy coming up to him saying, hey, I'm so-and-so from Team 10. It was something so brief, but it wasn't anything. But his whole point with it was like, why would I be there talking to girls or anything like that?
Yeah.
Much less like strangling them.
Why would I be there strangling random girls at the club?
And it's also interesting though, because like Jake and Alissa didn't have a relationship, but Jake is really salty about Faze Banks. You know, like it kind of almost gives
That's
Alissa,
how boys are though.
Yeah, it gives her like a little more credit.
Yeah, they don't want you till you're gone and moved on to someone else.
And everyone that I was listening to discuss the situation, like they really like went out of their way to say what a good, like unproblematic person Faze Banks is. I don't know all of his controversies or anything like that, but the worst thing I could find about him was that he like promoted something that was a scam once, and
that's not.
It's just not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And speaking of scams, the scamming begins.
Okay.
So, in January of 2018, Jake Paul launched a program called Edfluence. They're educating people on how to become influencers.
I remember this. I do remember.
Yeah.
This.
So the initial thing was it's a $7 fee to learn how to become an influencer, just like all these people. And then the moment that you paid $7, you were basically, that $7 bought you a more extended version of a trailer, and then you were redirected to pay $57 to buy the complete course.
Okay. So the way to be an influencer is to scam everybody. Okay. We got it, Jake.
Yeah. So he was teaching kids how to become an influencer. But my other thought is like, why, if the kids are spending the money on it, that's on them. Like, it's Jake Paul selling a program on how to become like him. And it's just not that simple. And I know everyone, whenever they're talking about this, they were like, it's just not like, it's common knowledge to like you and I, but not to kids. And it's like, why do these kids have credit cards in their hands?
I do know that like a lot of the kids in my life that I know they'll have something on their like iPad or whatever that's like hooked to their parents' credit cards or whatever. So it's not like theirs, but it's just like linked in case they want to, because sometimes they'll ask their parents if they can buy something on like Roblox or like whatever. So it probably was like one of those scenarios, and there were like kids just buying this stuff.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of people sell classes on things that they've only done once, like even like wedding video. Like I see so many that's like, learn how to shoot weddings, and it's like people pay $50-$60 for a video to watch them explain something that like you could probably just figure out if you Googled it. Like that's just like what business is though, right? It's like selling something to someone, selling them something they don't need.
Yeah, I mean, but it does just say, it is just a point to how like ridiculous Jake is, I feel. Maybe not necessarily like it's just so bad, and like it's the worst thing that he's ever done, but I just think how ridiculous he is because he's selling this course. I remember he was promoting it as if like, buy this course is like $7, and when you buy this course, you're gonna be able to make millions and have millions of followers like me.
And the videos were like, stay consistent.
Yeah.
It was like the most basic, like
Yeah.
just not any insight information. But after he got negative backlash, he deleted the whole course to everybody that spent their $64 or whatever it was total. They didn't have access to it.
Did he give refunds?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. So it was a scam.
Yep.
In the end, he is Jake the Scammer Paul.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is, I feel like when Jake's like really, it starts kind of snowballing with all the negative press about him. So also in January 2018, Paul uploaded a vlog called I Lost My Virginity, which initially had a thumbnail of Paul and his ex-girlfriend, Erica Costell, posing semi-nude. The video was age-restricted, but
Was she straddling him?
it was something like they looked like they were having sex.
Okay.
But I feel like everybody was doing stuff like this.
Yeah, that goes along with like the clickbait. It was the time of the clickbait.
Yeah.
And the thumbnails to like make
But
clickbait.
this was just like another like negative headline about him that I feel like reflected obviously a negative light that most people in his world were also doing. So there's a video of him. This was all coming out at the same time too. Like all these headlines were coming out. There's a video of him freestyle rapping when he was a teenager, and he said the N-word twice in the video.
Was it the hard R one?
No, he
or
was just like rapping. It was just like a little
okay, like
basic
in a rap song, like
yeah.
okay.
But this video didn't come out until, like I said, like there was even like an article about him like posing naked with his girlfriend. Like it was just like anything that people could like bring out.
I think that, and I'm not a person of color, so I can't accept, if he apologized for this or whatever, or said he grew from it. I can't accept that because that's not for me. But I'm just saying that I think that people who have done that and said that in rap songs back in the day can learn and grow and be better, and that it doesn't mean they're racist like in this day and time.
And I couldn't find anything else that came out about him saying it in any other negative way. So I was like, maybe he learned from that one thing going up, or he's been on the internet for so long, like he knows like not to do that. So these next few things are more examples of like the smallest, stupidest headlines that got a lot of attention, and it's like it was just like a dog pile of a bunch of little things that just didn't matter.
Okay.
So here are the 3 examples of horrible press that Jake was a part of, but did he do anything wrong in these? So in 2019, Jake Paul threw a party for rapper Designer. Someone was allegedly drugging guests at the party. No one ever stated that they thought it was Jake or anything like that. A mother went online and made a public statement and said that 9 girls were hospitalized from being drugged. There was never any evidence. There was never a police report. And
also, in my opinion, that's not Jake's fault unless he was the one doing it.
Yeah, and it could be like his house, like he's responsible, but it's also like, but it seemed that these claims were completely false. It was just someone on the internet making a statement pretending to be someone's mother.
Yeah, and even if they were true, again, like I've known multiple girls and women that have went to like a bar or a club and have gotten like drugged. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, and you can't go and blame the club for that it happened at. So that I feel like the same goes for this scenario.
Yeah, and it's like, so the statement got a bunch of headlines because 9 girls were drugged at a Jake Paul party, but it was not in the headlines that this was never proven to be true. And I feel like if that would have been true, it would have been huge news.
Yes, you don't think that the victims of this would have come out? They would have Alissa violated that shit. They would have wanted clout for what they went through over this.
Jake Paul was also at the same time criticized for the following tweets. Remember, anxiety is created by you. He's not wrong.
What year was What year was this?
This was at the beginning of 2019.
Oh, so this was like, okay. I thought maybe this was a tweet from like 2014.
No, but like, is he wrong? I mean, it is all in your head. Like, it's not a real thing. Like, it's a real feeling and it's a real like disorder, but it is.
I mean, your body does. Your body does make it happen, I guess.
Says,
but I get the context of this tweet is like saying that it's created by you. You can stop it. That's like what he's implying, and
says,
it's not that simple.
Sometimes you gotta let life play out and remind yourself to be happy, and the answers will come. He added some advice for anxious readers. Chill your mind out.
Oh, Jake Paul, the therapist, coming in hot right now.
Go for a walk. Talk to a friend.
Dang. When did he go to school for psychology?
I know. But like, again, it's just like the stupidest headlines. Like, I just feel like people were just kind of bandwagoning at this point. There is also a video. 2 transgender women were kicked out of a Team 10 party. So these 2 women went to the Team 10 house. Jake Paul was not present at the party. And one of the bouncers walked up to them and was like, don't y'all have a party to go to or something? And he said something along the lines of, we thought y'all were bringing girls. You're not a woman. Oof. And so they started filming and started like flipping out. And then they did this sit-down video about how Team 10 kicked 2 transgender women out of a party. Mm-hmm. But in the beginning of the video, the woman says, I just want to say I've never had any bad experiences with Jake. I love him. Like, she gives this whole spiel about how much she like cares for him and has always been treated with respect like for him. And it was just very like, okay.
It's feeling like a lot of the problematic stuff, because like a lot of this stuff is problematic. Mm-hmm. Like that's actually problematic if that happened. But it seems that like the problematic things that we're discussing here weren't necessarily like Jake that did it.
Yeah.
It was just affiliated with Team 10, which was his.
I feel like that comes with him. He's responsible because he put all these young people in a house, but it's also like you put all these young people in a house and let them make a bunch of money and they're going to be stupid. And then you add the public viewing everything on top of it. And it's just like, I don't know. So, in July of 2019, after his philosophical tweet spree,
he went on a walk.
Yeah.
And then
he married Tana.
Okay.
So Paul had a short-lived marriage to another famous YouTuber named Tana Mongeau, which included a disastrous paid wedding live stream. The wedding had a media value of $600 million. Mm-hmm. They sold the live stream for $50 per view to view the live stream. It started 4 hours late, and it was the worst live stream ever.
I remember
Did
seeing
you watch
about
it?
That. I mean, I didn't pay to watch it, but
I didn't pay. I found it on something, and I was able to get a look.
I like watched stuff about it afterwards, and I know people were saying it was like blurry, it was freezing, it was like someone shaking holding the camera.
And the moment that they got married, a fight like broke out in the aisle.
Yeah.
It was the most fake. It was like, and this was Tana coming out of like TanaCon, and she was problematic, he was problematic. So like you have these 2 people get married in the middle of Los Angeles and only invite influencers and see what happens.
Yeah. And I do want to touch on this for a sec, because the way that Alissa Violet talked about Jake honestly is very similar to the way that once Tana and Jake got divorced, that Tana talked about Jake.
It's a recurring theme with him.
Yes, that
he was never with them,
and that they really had feelings for him, and he never like reciprocated that the same way.
But it also is consistent that he is honest about that. And I'm not saying that's okay, that he can like play with their feelings or whatever, but he's honest in the fact that he's like, I'm not in a relationship with you. We are doing this thing, and that's what that is. And then I'm still going to go do what, like, it's just been very consistent that he's vocal about it.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the way that Alissa and him were transactional, Tana and him were transactional as well.
100%.
Because they were doing all of what they did for the money and the clout, the $600 million.
And I thought the same thing, because I was thinking about it, and I was like, dang, that's literally how him and Alissa started. And then Tana and him kind of had like the same exact thing. Like they were both like growing, and like they had an MTV show. Do you remember that?
Tana Turns 21?
No, there was one that was supposed to be about Jake and Tana together, and it never happened because they broke up.
Okay, it was going to be kind of like Ridiculousness.
Yes.
Yep.
And it never happened because they split. So.
Okay. Yes, I remember that. That was a that was a thing that happened that totally left my mind. Okay.
Yeah. So after his marriage with Tana, there was another scam. Paul launched a new educational subscription-based platform called the Financial Freedom Movement. It basically taught people how to make money on. It was the same thing in a different font, teach people how to make money online. Yeah. So, but this one was a $19.99 fee to create an account. One thing I thought that was interesting was while I was watching videos about this scam, I got an ad for a program that I could pay money for to learn how to have a good podcast.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, but that just goes back to like this. Everybody does this. Mm-hmm. It was just in a time where like Jake's fans were young and impressionable, so it was frowned upon that he was doing it.
Listen, I think now's a good time to tell everyone. Click down below and we have a link to our course. You can learn from us how to gain 35 subscribers
in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So go check it out. Just kidding.
And then there was another scam. This time he was promoting, according to the headlines, he was promoting gambling to kids. There were mystery boxes that you paid $5 to $100 for to win a home or a fidget spinner.
Okay. And I'm sure if you paid $5, you're gonna win the fidget spinner.
You might. But the company, like as people looked into the company, they looked up who owned the home that they were giving away, and it wasn't even owned by the company. It was clearly all just a scam. But Jake would put videos up of him like opening up these mystery boxes, and you could win a car, you could win a camera, you could win a MacBook, or just all kinds of products and stuff. And he was being paid, obviously. But one thought I had with that is like the influencer YouTube world is so new. We really don't know how long those careers could last. Like we have a better idea now that you could turn a career like that into something, but like I don't think it's the most frowned upon thing for him to have been young and like taking money from these random companies to promote something.
Also, he's not the only influencer or like content creator that has accepted brand deals for like stupid stuff that they don't actually use or believe.
And even looking at it now, gambling is promoted all the time now. Like even Drake is like partnered with some like sports betting thing.
I mean, I'll listen to multiple different podcasts like Trisha, Canceled, and other ones, and they promote DraftKings, and that's where you go to bet on sports.
Yes.
So
I just think that gambling is a lot more normalized now than it was back then. And this was even just like 2019, 2020, because I think that there's also been a lot of laws that have changed. Like gambling wasn't legal in most of the United States unless you were on like a reservation, or there was a specific casino in a certain county where you could do it. But I just think it's a lot more normal now, and it was just bad timing for him to be promoting something like that.
And I mean, at this point too, like, because I think the big thing with this was that he was promoting gambling to kids is what people were saying. But at this point, he had his relationship with Tana. He had these crazy thumbnails and clickbait with like his ex, and done all this like adult like content.
Yeah.
I don't know that the majority of people watching him at that time were still kids.
Yeah.
So just a thought.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So yeah, it's just like all of these little things keep adding up to make him look really bad, but it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Okay, before it gets better.
Yeah. So during COVID, all of 2020, he obviously got married to Tana. He's happily divorced from Tana. COVID sets in, and in May of 2020, Paul and his friends shared videos on social media at a Scottsdale Fashion Square shopping mall in Arizona. He went there to film the vandalism and the protests that were happening, and he ended up being charged with criminal trespassing and unlawful assembly. It kind of seemed like he just went to the protest to document kind of what was going on and like show it. It seemed like he might have had better intentions on it than it came out. I think it just was negative press that he was arrested at all. But he tweeted as soon as he was released, "Give me my charges and let's put the focus back on George Floyd and Black Lives Matter."
Okay.
And not that the looting was, I guess, the way to go about all that, but there was a reason behind all of it that was like a little bit bigger than all of that. But also during COVID, Jake Paul didn't believe that he should be needed. He didn't believe that he needed to be stopped from living his life because of COVID.
Oh, okay. He was
bring in the excavator.
Was he one of the influencers at the time that were all up in what was it called, Saddle Ranch?
Maybe.
Okay.
I didn't see anything about him at Saddle Ranch, but Paul stoked tension between himself and the mayor of Calabasas by throwing a party during COVID-19.
Oh, okay.
So this is big news for people in California. I feel like to us, this was happening a lot. Like around here, I don't feel like people, they were not
taking it that serious.
No, there wasn't. The quarantine wasn't as serious here.
We're in the South. People,
they do what they want.
Yeah.
And so this wasn't that crazy to me. But the photo in the notes, there are literally influencers dangling from an excavator.
Stop it right now. He is in cahoots with David Dobrik. He has to be.
This was within a month of the excavator with David Dobrik.
Oh my God.
So
Jeff needs to be coming for Jake Paul, because this, I'm sure, is what gave David the idea. He was like, oh, Jake Paul can't up me.
And what's crazy is there had to be an influx in business in the excavator rental companies like during COVID.
They're like, dang, we never been busier. Heck yeah. People have nothing to do. They're wanting to hang for
We
this
have
thing.
to put this photo up of the girls like swinging from it. It's so funny to me.
Imagine that being you. I would be like, this would be my profile picture. Just me hanging from an excavator, because that's kind of iconic.
So Paul caused controversy when he threw a massive party for his music video in July of 2020. The behind the scenes footage showed maskless influencers swinging from heavy machinery in Paul's backyard.
That's so funny to me. I can't.
I understand that we were under a legal requirement to like shut down, but
my sense of humor, like, can't not laugh at this.
Do you think, I'm going to read his quote real quick, and then I want to get your take on it. So here's a quote from Paul on this incident with the maskless people in his backyard. Our leadership is failing us, and everyone kind of just doesn't know what to do. But I personally am not the type of person who's going to sit around and not live my life. Thoughts?
He's giving very Republican, I think.
That's not. I agreed with him.
No, because
I understand COVID. I understand we needed to sit down for a minute. Everybody stay inside for 2 weeks. But when it wasn't fixed within a couple of weeks,
listen, we're gonna get canceled.
No, listen.
I mean, yeah, people die.
Yeah, people are gonna die. It's just terrible, but inevitable.
It was also such a gray area of we didn't understand what was going on. We can't trust the media to tell us the way that things are because they over dramatize things. Mm-hmm. So it's I'm just saying I understand
where he was coming from,
what he meant by that.
Yeah. When was this tweet though? What month? How long, or when was this party? How long had
July 2020.
And our lockdown started May or something, I think.
It technically started in April. July was when things got really bad. I remember July getting worse. But
okay.
It was such an unknown thing that we didn't know. They were acting like it could have taken forever for it to go away. In hindsight, was it that serious that he did that?
I mean, I can see where he's coming from. I can see why people would be upset about it. I just still stand. My biggest takeaway from this is he's giving very Republican with that to me. So
okay. I feel like this isn't related, but this is my conspiracy theory brain, wondering if it is.
Okay.
So later that year, Paul said he believed that COVID-19 was a hoax. He said,
this is getting worse.
Yeah. There are people losing jobs. There are small businesses who are going bankrupt. There are millions of people who are unemployed right now. People are turning to alcohol and drugs to cope with everything going on. This is the most detrimental thing to our society, Paul told the Daily Beast. COVID cases are less than 1%, and I think the disease is a hoax.
I mean, there was actually proof that it was real though.
But he wasn't correct in what he said. Mm-hmm. But I have questions about COVID for the government that I don't even know how to put into words right now. So I get that he was trying to maybe poke at the system and see what's going on. But again, I just think it comes back to that was such a gray area. No one had ever lived through anything like that before. So it was just I don't know.
Again, giving very Republican to me. I think that the takeaway from this whole video is going to be that Jake Paul is a Republican.
I could see that. This was interesting to me. It's why I put it after this. So in August of 2020, after Jake Paul said that he thought COVID-19 was a hoax, the FBI raided his house. They raided his home, and they were seen leaving his home with his flamethrower.
Stop, not the flamethrower. It's like just so casual too. It's like he was seen leaving his house with a bag and a backpack, and that's all. It's like, no, his flamethrower. And that's what he was leaving with.
Well, all of the charges were dropped, and it was never mentioned. No one ever said anything about why they did that, what caused them to do that. They never found anything. So I don't know. I just like thought that was interesting because the FBI raid was huge news, and it was like it just was another negative spot for him, and nothing ever came of it, and they never corrected it.
Could they have been upset because he was
saying that COVID-19 was a hoax?
Yeah, because
that's my conspiracy theory thought.
So they thought, this is a big house with young kids. And
they're like, let's go find something to arrest him with.
Yeah, there's probably drugs in this house. There's probably this and that.
Something.
And then that was their intention.
Yes. So, 2 women accused Jake Paul of sexual assault in 2021. Justine Paradise was I guess, TikToker at the time. She was also on OnlyFans. And in April of 2021, 9 days before Jake Paul had a really big fight coming up, she released a story of how Jake Paul essayed her. I don't want to like play her video and give her opinion on if we believe her or not. I feel like that's kind of just not. But she basically said that her and Jake were making out and she was in a corner with him. He pulled her into the bedroom. She was fine with this. And then I guess he tried to move her hand to some places and she was like, I don't want to do that. And he said along the lines of, if we're not going to do anything, then what's the point? And like the way that she said that, like I really was like, he said that to her.
Yeah.
You know, like the way that she told the story. And then I guess he like just then forced her to perform oral sex on him. So she released a 20-minute video basically just breaking that down. She said that he just kind of progressively got more physical, and then as soon as it was over, which it wasn't like a long scenario, as soon as it was over, he just like made her leave his room and they had to just like go back out to the party where like people were at. He like didn't give her the opportunity to like fix her makeup or hair or anything. So like I said, I don't want to speculate on whether or not we believe her. I feel like that's not fair to her at all. But Paul denied the allegations on Twitter. He said that he never had a sexual relationship with her. He also had a public relationship at the time with Julia Rose. So Jake's statement is really long. In summary, he was saying that she released the video of her explaining it at a really specific time because he had a big fight coming up. She had an OnlyFans, like she wanted to promote herself and waited until like the right opportunity. But because the Team 10 house had the NDAs you had to sign in order to come inside the house, she didn't know if the NDA covered something like that and she could get in trouble for saying it. It also, to me, says a lot that he said it wasn't true and that he was going to sue for defamation. I have a clip of him discussing the subject on Logan's podcast. He said that he was going to sue for defamation because the statement wasn't true, but her video is still up. Which I think, to me, it proves more that it happened rather than he thought. If he was so confident that it didn't happen, I just don't see how he couldn't get that removed or have sued for defamation.
Yeah.
She did have some text messages just proving that they were texting before she got to the party that she knew him. But he basically just denied it. There was another girl that came out before the end of the month in April and said that Paul groped her without consent in 2017. This story is this one is like I don't know. I want to hear your thought on it because she was around him whenever she was 17. He would often refer to her as jailbait.
How old was he?
He was over 18. So
okay,
if this was in 2017, he would have been 19.
Okay.
At the time, 19, maybe going on 20. So she was 17. And she said that one evening in late 2017, that after filming a video, he groped her. She told him to stop, and he ran out of the room.
Okay, that one.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like
no. That one to me feels almost as if like that's the way that it goes. Like because she told him to stop,
and then he stopped,
and he did stop,
and then he left the room.
Yeah. So that one to me doesn't feel like.
And it's not that she asked him to. He didn't ask for consent before he did it. And I'm not saying that that's okay. But in a lot of physical sexual scenarios, you're not verbally asking for consent.
Yeah. I've never done that.
What I will say is she said stop and he ran out of the room. And she was 21 at the time.
When it happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, to me, that one is less alarming to me.
And I also feel like if you were to go get charges for it or anything like that, if the record is that he stopped whenever you asked him to, I don't know, like, and I'm not like trying to take away from what she experienced.
Like, obviously he should have made sure that she wanted that before he did it in the first place. But it is, to me, like how we're saying, the fact that she said to stop and he did, I'm like,
and it could be like equivalent to someone making a movie, rejecting them, and then just walking away.
Yeah. So,
but it's like a gray,
the previous one that we were talking about is more alarming to me, like to where, you know, I don't know how to feel about that, because the thing going back to that previous one with me is that typically if somebody says that they didn't do something, like that somebody alleged that they did, like an essay allegation, typically they say like, we did do this, but they wanted it. And to me, like his statement saying we never had a sexual like encounter, like he was just denying the whole encounter rather
and that's
than like
where
she wanted it.
That's where the public kind of thinks Jake is like obviously guilty of something, because he and this is specifically with the Paradise girl, because he acted like he didn't know her, but she literally has text messages from him, and she was at his house, and there were people that knew both of them that brought her there. So there's a 3-minute video if you want to watch it. It's just Jake's response to the allegations. I will say that like Logan and Mike Malak like say a lot in the video, which I'm kind of like, shut up, we're trying to hear like his perspective, but I wanted to get your response from what they say about it.
I'm not backing down from some manufactured, fabricated allegations. I won't do that. You know, these things that people want to make up and say about me, I've been dealing with it my whole life. Preposterous allegations my whole life, honestly. And I hate it. And it sucks. And being in the public spotlight, that's going to happen. It's part of the job. And I think a lot of people in today's society are afraid to talk about it, or they need to talk to their team about what should I say and what do I do, and oh my gosh, everything is gonna I'm gonna be ruined, and people aren't gonna like me, and people are gonna believe this. Like, yeah, all of that might be true, but it's like, if I know at the end of the day I didn't do something, and someone's making some bullshit up, I'm gonna come out and fucking defend myself.
I also hate the idea of giving someone attention who lied about someone that I care deeply about in you. And I asked you to your face. I made you swear on mom's life, my life, and I know you, and I trust you, and I love you and believe you. When you say it's all bullshit and that there is no sexual relationship that took place between you and this woman.
I have to pause it real quick. Just that statement is giving Bill Clinton.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I don't want to get into too many of the details, but it's like, I think if you have been accused of something and you didn't do it, and you know that, and you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I did not fucking do this. I've never even had a sexual relationship with this girl by any means, and she's completely making up this whole entire story. Then
you need to fucking crazy, bro.
You need to go back after that person and make sure that you're suing for defamation. There are irreparable damages to this accusation.
I hope you are.
There are irreparable damages to this accusation that will follow me for the rest of my life. And there's already damages, like, just behind the scenes shit of how messy things got this whole entire week from that. It is absurd. And it affects my life for many, many years to come. And I don't take that lightly, and my legal team doesn't take that lightly. And I will not back down from anyone who makes some false bullshit claims about me. I will chase it to the very fucking end and prove my innocence. It's just fucked up, man. And
you know where
it sucks to be on the receiving end of it. And yeah, it's just bullshit.
Okay, so from this video, I think he thinks he didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he genuinely thinks that. I don't know if it's true that he didn't. Like,
my thought is, if he did not do it, why is her video still up?
That's what I was about to say.
If he has all the money in the world to go after someone for defamation, this is something that is not true, and that video is still on YouTube.
And he said he was going to prove his innocence and go
after her
till the very end.
And that is what makes me think,
Yeah, and I'm like, well, the very end was pretty close then, because nothing changed.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's my take on it. I believe the girl, and like whether it's that whether it's that like Jake thought in the moment when they were having this like sexual relation that they were like just in the moment and that he could like kind of coerce her, and that's kind of like how it ended up happening. And so in his mind he thinks that it was consensual. I think maybe that's what happened.
Maybe him saying the words, if we're not going to do anything, then what's the point? And her staying in the room was consent to him. Like, and not that that's okay.
Yeah, no.
But no, I think you're right. I think that he does think that he didn't do anything wrong. But where I start to like really side with her is him denying the situation altogether and not admitting that he went into his room with her and kissed her, because it's like she did say in her video that she reached out to him to discuss the situation, to try to tell him how it made her feel. But my thought with that is, if he didn't do it and he were to sit down to hear her out or have texts saying like, okay, like we can meet and talk about it, it would be him almost admitting to doing something.
Yeah.
So I just think Jake's fault, if he didn't do anything wrong, is denying the entire scenario.
This sounds really like believable to me, because just in my personal life, I've known guys who have, unfortunately, like SA'd people, and they genuinely thought that they didn't do anything, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's men don't always come at it like thinking like, I'm gonna assault this woman, like, you know.
Sometimes it takes a victim years to realize that they didn't ask for that to happen.
Yeah.
So I do, like, I believe her. I think the timing of releasing the video was weird. Like,
but also, if what she's saying is true, in my opinion, I'm like, if somebody sexually assaults you, like, if you want to get clout from the situation, that's your story to tell, and you deserve that at that point. So, you know, I don't care if she put it out at that time to get clout. If the story's true, then she deserves to get followers and get people to pay
share
for
her story.
OnlyFans, like, while she's sharing her story if she wants.
Yeah, no, I agree. But that's pretty much the summary of his allegations. The second one, with where he groped the girl and then he stopped after she asked him to, I don't know, that one's a little bit more like he got rejected and ran out of the room.
That one's not quite as on the same level to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But, yeah. So...
what's the worst thing that he's ever done?
So, this is a YouTuber's words, not mine. It was a random, like, commentator. He was like, so, this thing might be the worst thing he ever did. So, Jake was in Puerto Rico driving on a beach. And the beach was a sanctuary for sea turtles.
Okay.
And that's illegal.
Okay, sea turtles, SA.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, he said that he could be facing fines and other penalties. As far as I know, he never faced any of those charges, but he was just vlogging, driving on a beach, and it's really unknown if he even knew it was a sanctuary for turtles.
Yeah. Okay. That one is definitely not the worst thing he's ever done. For sure.
The next big thing, Jake obviously started boxing. So I didn't put a lot of detail into his boxing career because I don't think our Glitter Gel Pen audience cares. I don't care.
Yeah.
But he's continued to like stir up controversy in the boxing world just by like calling out opponents that are far-fetched or whatever. Like he just fought Mike Tyson last week. What is your opinion on the way that he's moved into boxing and has accumulated all the hate for doing it? Like he gets a lot of hate just for trying to be a boxer.
Yeah, I don't think it's really warranted, to be honest, because like people pick up new hobbies and new like sports and try to learn new things all the time, but they don't have this big platform and this big reputation that precedes them and all these followers who know that they're doing this thing, so it's not as big of a deal. But like, I mean, we started a podcast, like, you know,
Frankie Muniz started NASCAR.
Yeah,
he started racing, and now everybody's like, go Frankie.
Yeah, people pick up new things all the time, so I don't think that in itself like warrants hate. Jake hasn't been in any public negative headlines other than like the stunts that he pulls to get attention for boxing since the sexual assault on the sea turtles. Like it's been years since anything on his personal character and not the character he portrays as a boxer has had like negative impact. So my thought is like, if he's grown from those scenarios and like has gotten rid of the Team 10 circle
circle around him that was causing all the controversy. It just seems like let the man grow and like live a little bit.
Yeah. The only thing that's going to stick with me is the SA allegations.
Do you think it says anything that she didn't pursue charges?
Yeah, and that he was never convicted.
Yeah, he was never. And it's like our justice system is built to like no one is like guilty until they are proven to be. So like if she chooses not to press charges, she doesn't have to do that. But it also, we can't hold something over his head that like it is her story, like it was never proven or anything, and not that we don't believe her, but there's also like an element to it to where it's like
it still could be a question mark.
Yeah.
Even though we have previously said that like we do believe her, we just talked about all of that.
Yeah.
But I guess in a court of law it's not proven because he was never convicted. It's just allegations. So that does leave like a little gray area for me. So literally everything else that you said, I think we can say like he was young, he was dumb, he didn't do this, other people around him did this, and
it's kind of like sweep it under the rug, like, and move on stuff.
Yeah.
Like I feel like overall he is hated for. I didn't even know about those SA allegations. Like I'd never even heard of them before.
Me neither.
I had to like go out of my way to look for it. And it's just like, I don't know, like that's why whenever we were watching him fight and everybody at the house was like, oh, like yeah, I was like, wait, why do we hate him?
And that's what sparked this whole thing, is because we didn't remember why we hate Jake Paul.
This
is one more, and then we'll come to our conclusion.
You were gonna crack up when I say this.
Okay.
This is the article one of the last articles I read about him, breaking down like his worst moments. The headline was, Jake Paul endorsed Donald Trump for president in October 2024.
Oh, so I was right.
Yeah, Jill said, I feel like this is going to end with him being a Republican. So when I saw that as the last note, I was like, it really did.
Yeah. I did not see that. I did not even know, but I was right. I
just like, I don't care who a celebrity endorses.
No, me neither. That doesn't hold weight with me.
And it's like, it's also not our job to cancel somebody for
their
saying who they're voting for.
Yeah. Yeah. So that doesn't hold weight for me. But since we started this by having the thought of we can't remember why we hate Jake Paul, do we even hate Jake Paul? What is your consensus? Do you hate Jake Paul?
I don't hate Jake Paul. I went into it hopeful. Like I was looking for the worst of the worst to try to like be like, everybody hates him. Like there's got to be a good reason for it. And like obviously the SA is the worst thing, but I've not heard anything similar to that since. And he's stayed out of the negative headlines. So to me, he's grown from like the online image that he's portraying. So I'm like, kudos to him for having been the problematic child his entire life, and like he found something he really cares about, and it's like, why is the world hating on him for it?
I think my conclusion is that I don't hate Jake Paul the way that I thought I did. Again, I can discount everything except the SA allegation, but then I'm just still like have a question mark because of the fact that neither side was ever like proven. You know, he did not fight it till the end and get her video taken down for defamation, and she didn't take it to court and get him convicted. So they kind of like met in this middle gray area together of this thing. So I don't know how to feel about that. I don't think I hate Jake Paul, but I don't think I'm a fan either. That's where I'm going to leave that. So
I don't know if I would call myself a fan. I think, and I feel like gross saying this after the allegations, but I think I'm attracted to it. I was trying to find the dirt. I was like, come on, like, give me something. Like, give us a real reason to hate him. Like, say that he ran over the turtles with the car. Like,
yeah.
Like, give us something.
He squashed the sea turtles, and they're extinct now.
Yeah. But there was just nothing. That just wasn't there, so.
Yeah, okay. So, you're not a fan. You just want to marry him.
Just a crush.
Okay.
But I feel like I wouldn't like him having other girls. Girls over while he says that we're not together.
If he invites you and says he has connections, you're not going to take it because you know how it ends. We've seen it twice before.
If he called me and was like, I could maybe like get the podcast signed to an agency,
I'd say, saddle up. You're going.
We're going to the Team 10 house.
I'll be Nick Crumpton.
Yeah. She just got to a scene of Jill with the hair. Like,
he comes to me and I'm just like, hello, Alissa.
Well, yeah, we've never done a deep dive on here before, but you all have to let us know if you like it, if you hate it, what you think of Jake Paul.
Yeah, I think this was like a fun little switch up. I think we should start doing these more, in my opinion. We'll see what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, I'm excited to do more. I'm really excited for one that we might have coming up. So.
Yes, it'll be a fun deep dive on someone that everybody knows, for sure.
Well, cool.
But yeah, I had a good time. And don't forget, if you're watching this, make sure to click the subscribe button so that you're always aware when we have new episodes. We put them out every Monday.
Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, rate us 5 stars.
Leave us a review. 5-star review. It's a crime to give a 1 star. So remember that. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, all the things at Glitter Gel Pen Pod. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
We'll see you next Monday.
TTYL.
Happy birthday, Jill.
Woo!
Woo! Bye.